Hey guys, welcome back to Out of the Park Baseball 22 with the Detroit Tigers. This is episode 23. It is May 1st, 2028, and we are 12-10. Good for third place in the AL Central. The Minnesota Twins got off to a super hot start, 16-5, so we're 4.5 games out of first place. It's been it seems like these first months are always. I have a difficult start to a lot of my seasons before we bounce back. You can see right now we're third in runs scored, fifth in runs against. Our starters have been okay, not great, but okay. We've been okay offensively. We're third in home runs, eighth in batting average. Defensively, we are better than we. Well, not better than we were last year, better than we were the year before that. So it's just been kind of a down season compared to how most of last year went. I think we're ultimately going to be fine, though, so I'm not too concerned about it right now. Some players are not playing well at all. Some are having pretty solid starts to the year. First of all, I want to look at the Twins. So they're 16-5. They have the top offense in the American League, the top pitching staff in the American League. But when you look at their individual stats, they don't appear to be a team that should be 16-5. Royce Lewis is good. Arise is going to always hit for a high average. Sabato is a 3-star 28-year-old who hit 229 a year ago, batting third. Alvarado is one of their few solid offensive performers, and he's not anywhere close to being developed yet. Velade hit 305 last year, but he's only 3 stars. Toro is only 3 stars. Jeffer is only 3 stars. So they don't really have an elite offense, so I expect this to come down to earth a little bit. Same with their pitching staff. They got a couple of really, really good starters in Tony Miller and Shane Bieber. But other than that, I guess Jake Garland's pretty good. Oh, actually, I take that back. They do have a very, very good starting rotation. Yeah, very, very good starting rotation. But offensively, I don't think they're quite this good. So I think we'll be all right. I think we'll catch them. At least I hope we will. If we look at our team, we'll start with pitching. Andy Taylor so far has been quite good as our closer. 9 games, 2-1. He's got 2 saves. Will Sanders had a good start to the season this year. 3.74 ERA, 0.4 WAR. Edouard Colina is good for half a WAR. Emerson Hancock has been good for half a WAR. 3.66 ERA. FIP's a little bit high, but he's not really striking anybody out, which is, I don't want to say a surprise, but it's down. I mean, 2 years ago he struck out almost 10 per 9. Last year it was over 8, so he's not walking nearly as many this year. He's cut his walks almost in half so far, but his strikeouts are way down. So I think both of those will probably even out as we move forward. Grayson Rodriguez has gotten off to a difficult start when you compare, what he's done previously to this season. Of course, the year after that contract extension kicks in, but it's okay. We're still not paying him that much. It's only $10 million, so I'm not too concerned about it. Would like the control to be a little bit better. Those walks are a bit high. Actually, they're down from last year. It's BABIP. I mean, there you see. Look at the difference in BABIP. I mean, he's been in the kind of that 270 mark the last couple of years. He's up at 340 right now. So you have to assume that will even out. And then really from there, most of our relievers they haven't pitched much to really determine anything. Takelet's been good in a stopper role. Hayden Jones has been okay as a rookie, and Jackson Jobe hasn't been all that good so far. He's given up too many home runs, so hopefully he can correct that. Lineup-wise, again, most of our players are hitting pretty well. Lou, Rodriguez, both over a WAR already. Julio Rodriguez leads us in home runs. He's been really solid offensively. Elijah Green hitting 250. And if he hits 250 and his numbers, his ratings are continuing to increase here, so he's going to be fine. Verdugo hitting almost 330. He's been really good. Marcelo Meyer, 800 OPS. Alex Green, our pickup from Toronto in the offseason, has gotten off to a pretty good start. 301, 362, 493. Corey Collins hitting 250, and then from there, Gomez is the backup. Stanton is only 2 for 14, but again, I really only want him playing against lefties. where he potentially can still hit for a ton of power. Ramos isn't really hitting, but again, he's out there for his defense. So even if he can get up to 240, he's going to have a bunch of value, and he's been really good out and left so far. Mendoza as that backup first baseman / outfielder is not really hitting yet, but he's got the bat, so I'd like to leave him in the lineup. And then Josiah Morrissey's not hitting at all, and that's a problem. Like, we can get away with 235 and an 80 OPS plus, but a 15 OPS plus through 1 month isn't going to cut it. So we're going to need something more out of second base. And that's really where we are at this point. Any news that we want to take a look at? AL Batter of the Month is Abraham Toro of Minnesota. NL Batter of the Month, J.J. Bleday. Pitcher of the Month in the AL, Shane Bieber. In the National League, Justin West of Arizona. Alexis Alvarado for the Twins is the Rookie of the Month. And Cole Franklin of Cincinnati is the Rookie of the Month in the National League. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it. The minor leagues haven't gotten started yet. So, obviously no changes are going to be made in April. It's far too early. We'll see where we stand at the end of May. And, if we need to start looking at upgrading starting pitching or second base or something like that. The issue is money, or lack thereof, as it were. It's going to our payroll jumps up significantly next year, so we are going to have some decisions to make as the season wears on here. If we do fall out of it, do we look to move Verdugo? Do we look to move, Mejia? Players like that who are going to cost us money, because I'd rather bring back a 25-year-old Marcelo Meyer than a 32-year-old Alex Verdugo if push came to shove. Same thing with Grayson Rodriguez. I'd rather keep Meyer than really any of those players, other than maybe Julio Rodriguez if he can stay healthy. Lou may also be an option. I mean, that contract really gets expensive over the next couple of years, and we have a third baseman in the pipeline. Now, obviously, Cam Collier is not as good as Lou, but he's not that far off. And if we can get 80% of the production for 5% of the cost, that's something we have to consider. So it's something we'll keep a look at here as we go forward. But at this point, I'm just going to go ahead and sim ahead to June 1st. We'll come back, we'll take a look at the stats, and then I'll sim through June a week at a time, and we'll go a little bit slower for that month. So I'll be back June 1st. Hang tight. Okay, we are back. It is June 1st, and we're 29-21, and it does look like the Twins are as good as they let on, as they are 34-15 now, with some pretty hefty marks offensively from Miller and Bieber, who's 9-0 with a 2.42. Ramsey David is really good as well. So yeah, they are a pretty good team, a force to be reckoned with this year. We're 29-21, so it was a better month. We were 17-11 in May. And we'll, I'm not going to go through all of this. I just went through all the sets, so I'm not going to go through it all again. But we did make a deal. In the meantime, we had Mejia, who was that the bullpen piece that we picked up in the offseason, who was on the injured list. He was back from the injured list, and I immediately offered him up in a trade just because of what he's making and the fact that we have Taylor, Colina, Tacklet, and we had a lot of young players in the bullpen that were cheap. So I didn't feel like we could necessarily afford a $4 million arm in the bullpen right now. So we offered him up, and we made a deal with the Los Angeles Dodgers. So we traded Mejia, who you can see him, he's a pretty good pitcher, good fastball, ground ball pitcher, down to 4 stars. At least with us, he's a low scouting accuracy. But I mean, he's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. He put up some good numbers, but he's fragile. And again, his ARB number was a little bit higher than what we would have wanted. We also sent this 1.5-star starting pitcher that they wanted. Sent them both to Los Angeles. And in exchange, we get Jorge Carpentero, Harold Galindo, and Tommy Frock. So Galindo, I don't know what I'm going to do with him. He's out of options. So right now he's just sitting in the players designated for assignment section. If he's going to replace somebody, it's going to be Adam Hill, but we would have to then waive Hill. So I don't quite know what I'm going to do with him yet. think I have another couple days to sort of deal with it. Picked up Tommy Frock, who's just a bullpen piece or a young pitcher who potentially has some ability as a starter. Yeah, I mean, he was 9-9 with a 2.85 in Double-A last season. He's going to start in Double-A for us. At least I think he's going to start in Double-A for us. Isn't that where he is? Or did I put him on the big league team? Where is he? Seriously, where is he? I don't want him there. I want him on the Double-A team. Okay, I had him on. All right. I don't know what I was doing there, but apparently I had him on the big league club somehow. Yeah, there he is right there. Okay. And then the last pitcher we picked up was Jorge Carpentero. I got to figure out what to do with him. I got to get him on the big league roster. He has pitched 2.5 years for the Dodgers, and he's been really unbelievable as a 24-year-old. He's eligible for ARB this season, but he's going to allow us to move on from like Jake Eater next season or something like that. So good. Adam Hill's hurt, so we can put him on the DL. We can call up Carpentero right away. So we're going to make him a middle reliever. And we are also going to have his secondary role as a stopper. Doesn't have great stuff, but good movement, good control, great fastball. So he's really a 1.5 pitch pitcher here. Sorry, my phone's buzzing. 1.5 pitch pitcher here. So we'll see. But I mean, he's been really good. So those are the deals that we made. Our pitching staff has gotten, I guess they really haven't. Some of the players, like Emerson Hancock's pitching really well. 4-2 with a 2.55. Our bullpen's doing pretty well. But the rest of our starters are struggling. Rodriguez, Job, Hayden Jones, and Sanders. And I don't know that I can necessarily afford to pay that out. I mean, I guess we'll see. But I was already looking at some potential moves for Hancock, or for Rodriguez rather, and I also was looking at some deals for Lou, and I could really improve, name my position. There were some really, really solid pitchers, really, really solid offensive pieces that were available there. I think I talk about moving Verdugo, but he's been great. I mean, he's on pace for almost 7 WAR. So he's only 3 stars, but my concern is that he doesn't opt out and these ratings continue to drop. So, I mean, we're still in the playoffs. We're I think we're in a wild card position. Let me pull up the standings here real quick. Yeah, we're still in a wild card position. It's tight. I mean, we got Kansas City and Cleveland right behind us, but you can just see offensively, Rodriguez and Verdugo are really carrying us. It's specifically Julio Rodriguez, who's just having an unbelievable year offensively, on pace for 62 home runs, 136 RBIs. So he's been phenomenal offensively. Emerson Hancock's been good pitching, but other than that, we haven't had a ton of great performers. It's possible, that we could, if it's clear we're not going to win the division this year and we sneak in as a wild card, it's possible that we could make some moves this year to kind of think about the future. Like, if we trade Verdugo, we can stick Rodriguez out and right and make Mendoza RDH, or we can stick Mendoza out and right. That's probably what we would do, because he's better defensively, and leave Rodriguez there. We have enough depth there. I mean, is anybody even interested in him? I guess that's the other thing. Yeah, no one's even really interested in Verdugo. I mean, we could make a deal for somebody now and move on from the cap hit at the end of the year. Like, we could get, this to me seems like a no-brainer. Pick up Drew Strotman. It improves our pitching staff, which is what's struggling this year, and it gets Verdugo off the books for the next 2 seasons. I mean, do we try to expand this and include a Grayson Rodriguez and see if we can pick up. Like, what if we did this? Okay, so they'd be over budget, so we have to take a little bit of money back, which I'm willing to do. I mean, he was making 3 years. I mean, I would even take back a pitcher that I could just cut. So I would have to give them $3 million. So they like it. See, I'm still like I don't know that I want to give up Rodriguez yet. So I can do this. Can I get a prospect out of the deal? Trying to make it realistic here. I mean, they're not going to give me the number 18 prospect, so they won't give me Henry Aguilar. Jose Taveras. I don't know who this is. Okay, he was a scouting discovery back in 2024. My scout likes him more than OSA does. Yeah, I don't want to make a deal just to make a deal, but I'm also afraid that this deal won't be here down the road if I don't make it now. So we absolutely would take a hit from and let me look at his contract. I just make sure there was no extension signed. We absolutely will take a fan interest hit if we move on from Verdugo. Although, low leader, low loyalty, low work ethic. Maybe we move on from someone like McAble, who is a free agent after this season, and we're not going to re-sign him. Like, if I gave you $850... So you still want Taveras. Okay, so if we gave you Taveras, you would take this, and our money would drop this season because actually Stroutman is making more than Verdugo, but it would free up $19 million for next season on a contract that we assume Verdugo is going to opt into. So if we do that, because we have players in the minors that we can call up, like we can call up Galindo and just slip him into Abel's spot. I think, I feel like this is a good move to make for both the short term and the long term. So giving up on Verdugo would be rough. It means we'd have to reset our lineup a little bit as he's our leadoff hitter. But we get someone in right field who's just as good because we would just stick Mendoza out there. Offensively, we take a step backwards, I think, but I think we would be better pitching going from Abel to Stroutman, and then we can figure out our starting rotation at that point. So I think I'm going to pull the trigger here, and this will likely be our only trade of this episode, and we'll just start simming through. So let's click the trigger. All right, so we get a hit for losing Verdugo. Fan interest increases noticeably for picking up Stroutman. And we're down to an 83, and part of that is because of how we're playing this year. So we're up to $7 million for extension money, which is good. Because, again, the whole point of this is to be able to bring back Marcelo Meyer, who we can't bring back yet. We still need to shave like $14 million off of everything. So he can come up. Galindo can come up. That still gives us 14 pitchers. So I think the first thing we're going to do is we'll put Stroutman in for Sanders. And can we send Sanders down? That's not what I wanted to do. We can. All right. So this is what we're going to do with our rotation. Hancock, Rodriguez, Job, Stroutman, and Hayden Jones. Who's our second setup man? Colina will be our... So that's our bullpen. Our rotation is fine. And now we need to just set up the lineup again. And I do need to call somebody up, right? Yeah. I think we're going to call up a Tommy Edman. Can play multiple positions. Really good with the bat. So he'll give us some solid defense or a solid backup plan. So we need to stick Mendoza in right. Let's reset the depth charts. I don't want Caranto starting every second game. And then in right field against lefties, we're going to get Tommy Edman out there. We'll get him some time in right field. He can hit. We got him for nothing. So, all right. What do we want to do with our lineup against left-handed hitters? Or against right-handed? Do we just leave Mendoza there? I mean, those are some pretty solid ratings. Can't really run, but I think maybe we just stick with him in right field and see how he does. Because the alternative is who? Meyer? Do we move Meyer up and do this with our lineup? Move everybody up one? Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, let's try that. Let's try Marcelo Meyer as our leadoff hitter and see how that goes. So let me know what you think of that deal, guys. I'm not crazy about it, but I think offensively we're fine. Right now, where we need to improve is our starting pitching. And I think we do that picking up Stroutman. And we're off the hook for next season. So May, batter of the month, Bobby Dahlbeck. In the National League, Ozzie Albies. Pitcher of the month in the American League, Franklin Guzman of the Yankees. In the National League, it is Justin Dunn of the Reds. AL Rookie of the Month, Kylan Bamberger. And in the National League, it is Ben Muse. We traded Alex Verdugo, Mick Abel, and Jose Taveras to Tampa for Drew Stroutman and Henry Aguilar, who's a pretty solid first base bat. So, all right. So let's get up to the draft pool announcement, and I think we're probably we're going to be picking last, right? Because we had the best record in the league. So let's just see how this sims ahead. So we lose our first game of the month, or no, I guess that wasn't our first game. Yeah, it was our first game of the month. So we've lost 2 in a row. 5 games out of first place. We're now tied percentage points behind Kansas City. Minnesota is just steamrolling things in the American League Central this year. So not a good run here. We're down to 30-26. Win a couple of games in a row over Kansas City. Tough division, the AL Central this year. Tough division. So we did win 17-1. Oh, man. All right, so we came back with a 3-game sweep over Kansas City. Lou with a couple of hits and an RBI. Collins, 3 runs knocked in. Rodriguez picks up the win. Then a 5-2 win. Lou, 3 hits, 4 RBIs. Green, 3 hits. Job picks up his 7th win of the year. And in this one, we score 3 in the top of the 8th. Green, 2 hits, 3 RBIs. Was a 3-run homer? It was a solo homer. And Stroutman went 6, giving up 1 earned. Carpentero picks up the win. And Colina the save. So we're 6.5 out, 33-26. We still have the wild card, but again, we're going to be battling with Cleveland and Kansas City all year long here. Revenue's up a little bit, which is good. Money for extensions is continuing to go up. We still don't have enough to bring back Marcelo Meyer, but that's we're working on it. We are working on it. Zarate is not getting it done in Double-A right now, but I gotta leave him there. He needs to develop his ratings. I mean, if you look at his ratings in Double-A Northeast, I mean, this is where he belongs with his ratings the way they are. If we put him back in high A ball, he would be just a dominating figure. So gotta leave him in Double-A. He's just gotta figure it out. Collier's hitting, and he's holy crap. He just had a huge bump. I got to get him up. And I got to figure out a way to get him in the lineup. Wow. Okay. Cam Collier. Holy crap. We'll figure that out in a second. And Jordan Castro, he also got better. Wow. Wow. Okay, so both of these guys Castro is going to be ready to come up like immediately. So we need to move him up to double A. Wow. Okay, well that changes my thought process here for what we're going to do next season. I mean, does that mean we move on from someone? Why did all of these? I mean, I'm not going to complain, but oh God, I am an idiot. Okay, you guys can ignore me. That's fine. So Collier got better. Castro, yeah, I guess we'll leave him in double A. He's hitting well enough to be in double A. You can ignore everything I just said. Took me a minute to realize what was going on, but I realized what went on. So our pitching staff is still not getting it done. Hopefully Strotman can kind of solidify things a little bit. I'm not looking to move on from our pitching coach right now. He is reputation good, excellent at teaching pitching, and he's got good relationships with most of our pitching staff. Although, let's see. Is there somebody else out there? Although, let's see if we can find a better option here. Brian Conger, he was our old pitching coach. He's likely not wanting to come back because we let him go, yeah. Julio Machado, outstanding at teaching pitching. He's got average rep. He's already 62 years old, though. That's the problem there. Let's do this. So we got Sam Mcconnell, who's down in the BCL, whatever that is. He would have good relationships, excellent relationships with everybody except for Jackson Jobe, who would be good. He's got a neutral pitching focus, legendary at teaching pitching, outstanding at influencing mechanics, good at development. I think we're going to offer Sam Mcconnell a contract here, and that's going to fire Robert Ellis, which, you know, hopefully we can get some sort of bump here with our pitching staff with a new pitching coach. But so we made that move. Let's look at the draft pool. So we're picking 30th, right? Yeah. Jesus Elizondo, who's not a bad catcher, decent catcher ratings, decent bat. Offensively, looks like it's a two-player draft. Zamaya and Medina will likely be the first two bats taken. Wow. Okay. There are some good options here. I wouldn't mind a John McClenny. Not that he'll fall to us at 30, but yeah, there's some decent bats in this draft. I would probably go with someone like Jordan Sandoval if he was there before Elizondo. Probably go with someone like Ben Vickery before him too. So, and then pitchers. Again, a lot of good 2.5 and up starting pitchers. So there should be something there for us in because we have a comp pick this year as well. So we have the number 30 pick, and then we have the number 30. So we have 30 and 37. So we should be able to get a couple of decent picks in that in that little window there. So that's good. Cool. All right. But that's for the next episode. So here we are going to, what are we at? We're on the Sunday the 11th. So let's sim to next week. It's a 2-0 loss. Let's go ahead a week. We'll get stopped again here in a minute when the pitching coach signs. All right, so now we're going to be taking on the Blue Jays. We are 33 and 27, so it definitely has not been as good a year as we had last season. And Minnesota started to take a step back here a little bit, so it would be nice to make a move. Adam Hill's back. I'm going to send him on a rehab assignment just because I don't want to make any moves in my bullpen just yet. So we're 34 and 28. We're 5.5 out. We lose again. Yeah, this is we have not gone on one of our patented hot streaks here this season. It's been a lot of up and down. We do win a few games in a row here, though. So that's 3 straight wins after losing 2 out of 3 to Toronto. 8-4 win here. Meyer had 3 runs scored. Lou, 3 hits, 2 RBIs. Ramos had 2 RBIs. Stroutman picks up the win. Then we had a 6-1 win. Morrissey, 3 for 4. His average is still hovering under 170, so we're going to have to figure out what to do at second base. Maybe we just slide. Let's do that. So let's go to lineups, and let's make Caranto the starting second baseman here for a little bit and see what that does. Give Morrissey a chance to come off the bench. We'll also keep an eye on the waiver wire. Frankly, we do have Tommy Edman here as well that we could easily just stick in to second base, who's a decent second baseman. Not great, but he's a decent second baseman. So that's another option as well. We'll see how Caranto does, and then just kind of go from there. Mendoza's also not hitting, so I think I need to make a move there. Edmonds not hitting, so I think what I'm going to do is this: I'm going to stick Stanton in right, bring Green in, and we're going to bat Green in at first base. We're going to bat him leadoff because he's got some good. He's a good base runner, and he's got a good eye. Stanton is only 9 for 45, but he does have. He has an 868 OPS, so he's doing what I asked him to do. 240, 952 OPS against lefties. So as long as he just bats against lefties, we should be fine. I'm gonna make Edman the backup second baseman though. It's a bit of a hot streak, which is nice, and then we win the final game 5-1. Meyer, home run. He's got his 10th home run of the year. Hancock picks up the win. All right, let's go ahead another week. 6 games out, 37 and 29. 39 and 30. We're 7 games out as Minnesota is just running away with things at this point. Things have picked up a little bit. We're 11 games over 500, make it 12 games over 500. So it's been a decent run for us. We won 3 in a row over Houston. Then we won 2 out of 3 against St. Louis, or against Seattle, and then we swept Los Angeles. So we're 8-2 in our last 10. Good offense from the bottom of the order here. Jones goes 8 innings, picks up the win. Ramos is somebody that this offensive line, along with his defense, is going to make him worth the contract. I mean, he's probably the worst of our 3 outfielders, Ramos, Rodriguez, and Green. But the offense, this package is exactly what I was hoping out of him. So I am thrilled with what we're getting out of Helio Ramos this year. Second game was a 5-3 win. Green goes 3 for 5 with 2 knocked in. Caranto is up to 290. So it looks like we may have made the right move there. Hancock picks up his 6th win of the year. And the final game is a 10-7 victory. Stanton, 2 doubles and a homer. Ramos and Lou both homer. Rodriguez picks up the win. Hased struggled, but Rodriguez picks up his 4th victory of the year. Any interesting notes? Nate Pearson's going to miss 5 weeks. Let's take a look at the trade block. So from a batting perspective, there's not a lot here offensively. Like, there are a couple players with some decent ratings, like Dominic Smith isn't bad, but what we have is currently better. Willie Adames at shortstop, but we have a shortstop that I'm happy with. So there's not a lot here offensively that's going to make us better. What about pitching? Because, I would look for a second baseman. Maybe Victor Diaz, but, he's not any better than what we have out there right now. So that may change as we get closer. Brendan Shoemaker's making too much money. What about pitchers? Osceola Rodriguez, but he's out. Alek Manoah, but he's out. And there are a couple. Gunnar Meyer's not bad. He's not making a ton of money, so that could be an option. Garrett Cole. He's making $36 million this year, and he's wrecked. So offensively, we're fifth. Runs against, we're fifth. So offense, our pitching staff's getting better. Offense is struggling a little bit, but that was to be expected. I mean, we got rid of our leadoff hitter to bring in Drew Strotman, who has actually been decent since picking him up. Hasn't been great, but he's been okay. Cam Collier's hitting. He is going to be up next year. I don't know where we're going to play him, but he will be up next season. He might even be up this year. If we suffer an injury, he will be the next bat called up if we need somebody. Zarate has gotten a little better, but he looks like he had 3 good starts in a row, so he'll come around, I'm sure. And he's a positive WAR, and he's got an unsustainable high BABIP. All right, so let's get to the end of June. We beat the Tigers, or we beat the Cardinals 9-2. We beat the Cardinals again. So we're 4.5 games out. So we made a nice run here in June. Another victory, this time over the Twins. We're up to 45-30. The Twins are 48-26. Look who's number 3 in the American League in WAR, folks. Just want to point that out. Elijah Green. So all of you who hated on me for picking Elijah Green. All right, so we win again. So we're only 2.5 games out of first place. We had a really, really nice second half of June. We started off 4-6. And we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14-3 over the last 17 games of the month. We finished 17-9. We're 46-30. Let's look at player development. Taylor got better. Strotman he's got his ERA under 4, so he's solidified the back end of that rotation nicely. Rodriguez got worse. He's not pitching all that well this year. Again, and it's not so much BABIP anymore either. His BABIP is down to 315. It's getting there. But again, with what the money situation is for us, Grayson Rodriguez's contract isn't terrible, but it's one that we may need to move on from. I think, I don't want to move on from Hancock. He's pitched well enough to justify, I think, what's left here. 12.5 this year, then 15, and then 18, and then a team option after that. But the minute those ratings start to slip, I have no choice. And we do have some players, on their way up, so I'm not too terribly concerned that we can't backfill it. But for now, it's something we need to consider. And if Rodriguez continues to not pitch well, we have Balog ready to come up, and we'll have Zarate in a couple of years. So Job getting better. He has really settled down after a bit of a difficult first month, but he's 8-3. Carpentero got better. He hasn't pitched much. We'll look at stats in a second. Gomez got better. Green got better. Lou got a little bit worse. And this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Even a minor slide, his power went from 80 to 77. That is enough for me to start to think about it. He's on pace for 8.5 WAR, so it's not anything I think I'm going to do during the season, but it's definitely an off-season option to move on from Yu Yi Lu if the finances dictate it. I would rather have Collier and Meyer on the left side and no Lou than having Lou and no shortstop. Maybe I'm nuts, but that's just my take. You guys let me know what you think. Rodriguez, his batting average has slipped a bit, but he's already at 20 home runs. Braylon Bishop getting better down in AAA. I have to sneeze. Excuse me. Justin Bailey, another young pitching prospect, is coming along. The numbers aren't there, but he pitched well enough in rookie ball that A ball was the next logical step, so he just has to work through it. O'Grady was a third-round pick a couple years back, having a difficult start to his big league career this year, but it's only 2 starts, so we'll let him work through it. Mike Mueller was a second-round pick, I think, 4th-round pick. So it looks like rookie leagues are just getting started here. Aguilar getting it done. He was the guy we just traded for. Matthew Champion we drafted last year as a pitcher, made him a batter. So things are starting to look. Chris Sylvia was our number one pick a year ago. So he'll likely spend the season in rookie ball, and then we'll call him up. AL Batter of the Month was Lou. NL Batter of the Month, Juan Soto, now of the Cubs. Pitcher of the Month is Carson Hamro of the Red Sox. In the National League, it is Mark Phillips of the Rockies. Look at that. 5-0 with a .46 ERA and 25 saves. Wow. Alex Green wins the Rookie of the Month, 26-year-old. And Yoshinobu Yamamoto is the Pitcher of the Month in the National League. So let's go in and let's look at stats. We'll start with pitching. So, again, Emerson Hancock getting it done, 6-4. He's on pace for a 13-9 season, but 5.5 WAR. Strikeouts are, his walks are down, his home runs are down from last year, which has led to his whip dropping, which has led to him having a really, really good year at age 29. Jackson Jobe, strikeouts are up, walks are down, home runs are about the same. He's given up about the same number of hits, but the walks are down, and that's making a difference. His ERA plus is up to 111. I mean, everything else is basically the same. He's just walking half a man fewer, which is making a difference, and he's on pace for 17 wins. Colina has been outstanding. Yeah, I should have re-signed him when we had the opportunity at the beginning of the season for 1.3, because now he wants 8. So that's not going to happen. He'll be gone after the season, but we're getting a good year out of him. Grayson Rodriguez, we talked about. Home runs are up a little bit, walks are down, strikeouts are up. I mean, his BABIP is still just higher than it has been. So, we've got another month, and, maybe we don't do anything, and we just wait until the offseason and we make a decision then. And hope that the BABIP drops down to this 270 mark where he has been. Strotman, 2-1 with us so far. He's been fine. No complaints whatsoever. 124 ERA plus. Let's look at Verdugo. I forgot we traded him. Oh, yeah, we traded him to Tampa. And he's not hitting. He's not hitting in Tampa. The numbers, he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. The numbers are starting to drop. I think we made the right decision there. Still want to know what you guys think, but I think we made the right decision there. Andy Taylor's been really good as our closer. 13 saves, 46 strikeouts. Carpentero has struggled with us, but it's still, I think it was one game where he got hit hard. Eater's been really good. Hayden Jones has had a difficult rookie season, but he's been okay. I mean, he's pitched above average. He's just given up too many home runs, and I think he's walking too many. If he can get this down to about 3 and get this down to 1, he'll be fine. The whip is just a little high to sustain that home run total. So, but he's only 23, so can't complain too much. Hassett has been meh. Takelet's been meh, which is a bit surprising. I suspect that he'll be elite by the time this is all said and done. He's fixed his control. He's just 1.6 home runs. BABIP's a little bit high, so I think he'll be fine. Galindo has struggled mightily. So we may want to go in and just quickly do this. Use less often. And we will go to use more often here. So that's the pitching staff. And then offensively, Lou is at 3.9 WAR through 75 games. Give me just a second here, guys. Yeah, I mean, he's just getting it done like he always does. Elijah Green's having a fantastic second season, 262, 357, 461, 818 OPS. The bat's come along nicely. It's on pace for fewer home runs this year, but 36 doubles, 11 triples, on pace to steal 17 bases and still playing great defense. Alex Green was the Rookie of the Month. He's on pace for 30 and 87, on pace for a 400 on base percentage, which is what I said when we traded for him, right? This is what I wanted out of him. Some power with a great on base percentage, good defense, and that's what he's doing. So Rodriguez had a bad month of June. You can see $188, only 1 home run. But overall, I am pleased with what we're getting out of Julio Rodriguez, on pace for 43 home runs and 107 RBIs at a reasonable contract. Like, we could have kept Torkelson for getting basically the same numbers, but it would have cost us twice as much. Corey Collins continues to just mash the baseball. He's been really, really good, on pace for another 2.5 win season, another 20 home run year. Helio Ramos, we talked about. I mean, he's on pace for 2.2 WAR. His fielding has been unreal in left field. So I have a feeling we're going to have at least 2 Gold Glove winners in the outfield in Ramos and Green. Gomez has been outstanding as a backup. We may have a decision to make when the season's over. Do we go with Gomez or Collins? Because the ARB estimates, I can't afford to pay Collins. His ARB estimate is 8, and Gomez's is 4.2. I can't afford to pay my two catchers $12 million. So we're gonna have to make a decision there. I don't know where it's gonna come from, but we're gonna have to make a decision there. Stanton has done what we asked. I mean, he's hitting 203s, but he has an 886 on base or OPS. 8 for 33, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, putting up 1,000 OPS against lefties. So he's doing exactly what we needed him to do. Kai Caranto is only hitting 240, but that's better than what we were getting out of Morrissey. And defensively, he's been very, very good. Talked about Morrissey, the fact that he's only hitting 177. Edman and Mendoza are also not hitting. So we're going to figure out what to do with Mendoza. And it might be, the decision might be to put Rodriguez out in right field, call up Cam Collier, and make him our third baseman, and then stick Lou at DH. Give it another couple weeks and see what happens with Mendoza, because he's just not hitting. And his ratings suggest that he should be better than that, but he's just not hitting. So I can't keep that bat in the lineup forever. Batlog in AAA, wow. He's got to come up. I mean, he's been dominant in AAA this year at age 24. So, maybe in July we do look to move on from Grayson Rodriguez. I mean, what sort of interest is there? Not a lot of good interest anyway, but we could potentially make something work, I'm sure. If I say I'll retain some of the contract and then get an offer and then back off from that retain, I think we can probably make something work. I don't want to move on from Ramos. He's been really good. I wouldn't mind moving on from Rodriguez. That will give us, so if we move on from his $10 million contract, that'll give us about $15 million in extensions. And I bet that I could get Meyer for 15 next year. Especially if we have another good season and the fan interest continues to go up and we're able to, our fan interest is down to an 80. It was a 100 at some point during the offseason. So, yeah, the problem, and that's the other problem, right, is that if we move on from Rodriguez, he's insignificant, so fans wouldn't even care if we traded him. All right, well, that's going to be for next episode. I have a feeling we will be moving on from Grayson Rodriguez next episode and calling up Trayvon Balog. We will see. But before we do that, let's look at our pipeline really quick. I like to do this. So we know about Zarate. Continues to struggle in AA ball, an 8.08 ERA. But again, an unsustainable 4.23 BABIP, so I have to think that he will work that out. Talked about Collier. Castro is still a couple years away, but he's in AA right now. He'll probably be in AAA next season, and then either up at some point next year or the year after that. We talked about Balog. Talked about Bailey. Bradley was, I think, our first pick last year, second pick. And he's in A-ball right now. I mean, that makes sense. He was really good except he's been really bad. Has he, though? He's got up a ton of hits, 65 hits in 45 innings. But there's no really, I can demote him to rookie ball, which might be the best thing to do. Yeah, we're going to demote Ed Bradley. And we've talked about everybody else, Sylvie and Takelet. So I think we're in okay shape. We're starting to make a run here on Minnesota. This is the first time in a while that we haven't been in first place come July. But I don't think it's through any fault of us. I think it's just how good Minnesota's playing. I would take a season where we played 600 ball. That's close to a 100 win season. So, or is it more than that? We're 76 games now. So yeah, we'd be close to 100 wins, and I would be okay with that. Given the steps that we have to take to remain competitive because of our financial limitations. But next episode will be the July episode. We'll run through the international signings. We'll run through first-year player draft, and we'll get up to the trade deadline. So, again, let me know what you thought of my deal with Tampa Bay. Moving on from Alex Verdugo. And I will talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for your support, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.